That's preceded by Sheffield Eagles against Leeds Centurions. Sheffield Eagles with some work to do here in the second half at the Stobart Stadium. They trail 12 points to 4 against the Widnes Vikings. Widnes looking to overhaul the Eagles and move up to 5th place in the table. And Ron Lawton gets us underway from the boot of Simon Brown, and it's a cunning boot as well from Brown. That ball bobbling could have caused problems.
It was a testing kick from Brown.
But it's fielded by Widnes, and here is Paddy Flynn. Certainly a lot to play for in the second half here. Sheffield will take a great deal of encouragement from the way they ended that first half. They got one try, they could have had a second.
Both of these teams finished the games very strongly in the second half. They don't run out of juice, they're very, very fit. Good go forward from Haggerty.
And the Eagles can perform away from home, as they've shown victories at Batley, Featherstone and Toulouse.
Well, that was good play by Jim Gannon. You saw that Henderson had come flying out the defensive line.
Kurt Hegarty's kick, and Kurt Hegarty playing, but big brother Gareth not able to play for the Vikings tonight, and that's bad news. And it's bad news for Gareth Haggerty as well, because it's sounding as though he's going to need a knee reconstruction. Has had a knee problem, and the view is that an operation might be necessary. Here is Alex Rowe from the pass, and Rowe is dumped to the ground. Sheffield in possession. Rod Studd down on the sidelines can bring us up to date with the half-time news.
Yeah, Mick Cassidy, who's in temporary charge of Widnes tonight, Bill, is pretty satisfied with what happened in the first half, but just a little bit concerned with what went on in the final 5 to 10 minutes of the period. Wants them to get back to what they did at the start of the half and start showing some composure again. Mark Aston wasn't a happy man, I can tell you. He was less than happy with some of the refereeing decisions and less than happy with some of the consistency of them, but he wants his team to stay in it right to the final whistle, happy with the completion rate, and just wants them to keep putting pressure on Widnes and start winning the battle for field position. Back to you, Bill.
Gaskell standing firm in the tackle, thanks Rod, as Brown hoists the kick. And Flynn comes for it. It's booted on by Lindsay. Referee says play on. And that was an advantage.
Well, in that set of 6, just look at the way that Sheffield have started this second half. They want to offload the ball at every occasion that they can. They've got some big men in the forwards, but Tanguy Rapati starting that go forward with his initial break and offload.
Lee Duran is tackled, saying that Sheffield are good away from home. Widnes not so hot at home. Only win in their last 6 home matches in the Championship was a narrow one, 27-26 against Dewsbury. Rowe and Gannon head-to-head there.
That was a hospital pass from acting half back there. Jim Gannon won't be thanking his hooker for that one.
Craven was maybe hoping to engineer a 40-20 there, but just stepped outside as Mills pops the pass up to Missy Talapapa. There's a bit of intention from this Sheffield Eagles side at the start of this second half.
Well, they're willing to throw the ball again. Again, Mills looking to offload that ball to Missy Talapapa.
You talked about offloads, Tez. Widnes had done 3 times as many offloads as Sheffield in that first half. 9 to Widnes and only 3 to the Sheffield side. They've probably done that in the opening 3 minutes.
Brown's kick for Bergin to chase. It's a good one into the corner. Tanguy Rapati there as well, and Gaskell comes sweeping across like a soccer fullback and gets that one into touch.
Well, Dean Gaskell not taking any chances. He'd come up, Brown had sucked him up. You can see he turns and chases Missy Talapapa, and Bergin going for that ball.
So Sheffield head and feed. They've started this second half positively. Mark Aston must have really got into them during the break. Head and feed to the Eagles. Here is Lindsay. Lindsay's pass, telegraphed to Thackeray. He does that so well. Bye-bye, I'm gone. Next stop, Sheffield Eagles try line. And Brendan Lindsay comes trailing back dejectedly. But that one, we'll talk about telegraphed.
Well, Anthony Thackeray's an expert of those interception passes, but Lindsay, he had all the time in the world. All he had to do was look up and see that man Anthony Thackeray waiting for the long ball. There was nothing else happening outside of Lindsay. Look at Thackeray now, he just goes and look at that. What is Brendan Lindsay doing? Normally reads the game so well. But Anthony Thackeray placed himself in a position to catch that ball and score the try for Widnes. But they've started strong in this second half. That will not help Mark Aston.
Well, if he was fuming at half-time, he'll be absolutely bouncing now. Anthony Thackeray claiming his 23rd try of the season, the club's top try scorer. And that has immediately released the pressure that Eagles had managed to build at the start of this second half. And Craven, with 2 more points, will add to their misery. They trail by 18 points to 4 now. And it was Thackeray's quick thinking and alertness. We've seen plenty of that over the matches.
You can see the ball, the long balls, and Anthony Thackeray, very much a running standoff, more tall than a Roman sandal. As soon as he gets the ball in his hand, he is going for that line. Makes no mistake with the grounding either.
That restart again almost caused problems. Thackeray's got 3 hat-tricks this season so far in his 23 tries. And yet his place was under threat. There is the cool blimey, if looks could, etc. Mark Aston is Mr. Sheffield Eagles and has been involved with the club for all but 3 of their 27 seasons as a professional club. He feels it for the Sheffield Eagles.
And I think what Mark Aston will have said to them at half-time is, we need to start big. We need to keep in spitting distance to this Widnes side, otherwise they could run away with it. And all that momentum, all the threats that they kept making on the Widnes defensive line came to nothing with that excellent play by Thackeray.
The Eagles in possession. Here goes Henderson. Henderson cut down by Ben Kavanagh. Lindsay. Exton, lovely ball round the front and gets it away to Yeri. Yeri will take on Craven, and Craven, we saw him do this against Halifax. Such courage from the young fullback. And Yeri was made to look silly there. And right on the try line now, on the last, for the Sheffield Eagles. Brown stabs the kick in, and it's tidied up by Widnes, and they did well to get out of trouble there. Gerrard it was, he's lost the ball, it goes backwards, play on, says the referee.
Well, again, Simon Brown come up with that play.
He's got it back.
The Eagles have got it back in a wrestling match there.
He done 2 of them last week.
So they are back in possession, and with Stringer going for the line, but he is driven back.
But again, it was Danny Craven who come across and put his body on the line.
I haven't got my breath back since him stopping Benzairi.
Lindsay, stuttering run with no great intent from Brendan Lindsay. Henderson. Crowd appealing for obstruction there. Henderson appealing for some support. It comes. And Henderson gets it back, gives it to Alex Rowe. Rowe is held up on the try line, and there's a penalty for Sheffield. Man was taken out, I think.
Yep. Ronnie Lawton, the referee, giving the penalty to Sheffield. They are starting to ask questions, the Sheffield side.
So they get the penalty, and Stringer again comes driving in. But there's strength there to make the tackle. And it's going to be another penalty.
Well, that's just too long from leader to give the penalty for.
Widnes need to be careful here. There could be a yellow card coming.
Trevor Exton. So they can't complain about the lack of possession. Mark Aston hoping that they can convert this into something. Lindsay. Simon Brown now. Brown. Here's Missy Talapapa, he's lost the ball. The captain going without it as he slipped to the ground there.
Good shot by Matt Gardner. Oh. And is it Kurt Haggerty that loses the ball? Widnes beat Toulouse last week. 11 back-to-back sets they had on the line. There's the mistake from Haggerty under pressure.
And the cheers a moment ago from the Vikings fans turned to groans. And Sheffield have it back again. If they get away with this, they've got to take their hat off again to young Danny Craven, the 18-year-old fullback, faced by another ferocious charging centre in the shape of Menzieri, and he managed to stop him.
Or was it Frank Watini stopped?
It was Big Frank, you're right. Yeah.
Bravery and courage personified there. He's got a PNG brick wall running at him, stands his ground and makes the tackle. Outstanding work.
Stringer plays the ball on the 10-metre line. Here is Simon Brown. Brown, short pass, finds Tanya Rapati. That's good defence again. It was Matt Gardner making the tackle. Simon Brown now. Peter Green, and Gardner once more. There's real spirit about the defence from this Widnes Viking side. There needs to be. They are under pressure. They might lead by 18 points to 4, but Sheffield Eagles fancy their chances here. Short pass finds Exton. Exton, now familiar to see him with his socks round his ankles, plays that ball. Here's Craig Cook. Good pass from Cook, and again, great defence. It was Haggerty to the rescue.
Well, that was the man who made the mistake, bringing the ball away from his line. So he saved the try there for his Widnes club and the Widnes teammates.
And just listen to this crowd now, really getting behind the effort and resilience that Widnes are showing.
Alex Rowe coming thundering in again there to make the tackle. Gaskell squirming away from the first challenge. Stringer comes back and gets him at the second attempt. Here is Jim Gannon.
Well, they're starting to get excited in defence, Sheffield.
Gannon. His Coyle now up to the halfway line, and Widnes managed to break free of the stranglehold that Sheffield have had on them. Virtually since the start of this second half, you have to say. Here is Bergin. Bergin clean through, looking for some support. Takes on Gaskell.
Well, it's a good job Dean Gaskell was there. He's just been having treatment by the Widnes physio, just getting back into the line when Bergin broke through.
And Gaskell not moving that smoothly. Here comes Missy Talapapa. It was Heckenberg who just blocked his path. Here's Hepworth now. They are motoring at the Eagles.
Well, they're starting to play on the front foot, the big forwards. Look at the yardage that they're making up the middle of the park. 85 metres on the third tackle.
Craig Cook back into the action for the Sheffield Eagles. Here comes Menzieri doing what he does like to do, coming on the angle to get the ball, wrestles his way free of the first challenge. Cook for Ryan Hepworth. Hepworth offloads the pass straight to a Widnes Vikings player. And then, oh, it's another penalty against Widnes, offside on their own try line. They are getting caned here.
Well, Ronnie Lawton giving a lot of penalties to this Sheffield side.
They're still behind on the penalty count, but it's certainly narrowing. And Sheffield Eagles, the ball is knocked on, and another chance goes begging for them. Menzieri couldn't take it, and to be fair to him, it was down by his toes.
It was a dipping ball. Did Thackeray do enough to put Menzieri off this ball from catching that ball?
I think he may have even touched that, Thackeray.
This is a must-complete set of 6 for Widnes. You've got to get some energy back into those legs to defend.
Paddy Flynn plays the ball. Widnes ahead by 18 points to 4, but the mood among the supporters down below us and this packed side of the ground is one of anxiety, and when they manage to get away from their own try line, there's relief in there as well. They need more points on the board to be comfortable. Varkulis. There is Mick Cassidy in charge here this evening. Paul Cullen, of course, dealing with what he has to deal with at this time, and Thackeray.
Well, he's having a right go at some of his teammates. Just trying to buy a bit of time.
Interestingly, Mick Cassidy was talking to Tom Kelly. He's going to have to change those big fellas around. A lot of the work being done around the middle.
Well, it looks like he's bringing on Tom Kelly and Mark Smith to give him a bit of punch around the middle of the park. That's where Sheffield have been targeting Widnes.
Certainly not out of this game yet, the Sheffield Eagles, even though they trail by 18 points to 4.
Well, just look at the way that they're playing. They've got a lot of self-belief. The last 5 minutes of that first half, they really started to play with speed. And that man, Alex Rowe, he has had a massive game since the introduction off the bench.
Alex Rowe, one of the players that's been given a second chance by Mark Aston at the Eagles. He's had his problems off the field, Rowe, but the Eagles found a place for him. That's good work from Gaskell.
Well, they went for the 40-20 yet again. And the kicking game from Simon Brown. Here it is, Dean Gaskell just patting it back inside to Craven.
And you'd like to think that Danny Craven gave him the call there. Very impressed with that player, Danny Craven. Attack and defence.
Gerrard plays the ball. Here goes Matt Gardner, and Gardner shrugs aside the first challenge. He's a chunkier, stockier figure than brother Ady. Here's Heckenberg now. Exton uproots him. And Mark Smith, well, he's inside his own 40 there with that kick, hasn't got the angle on it, and it pops up nicely for Missy Talapapa, the former Cronulla and New Zealand Warriors player, now in the colours of the Sheffield Eagles.
Missy Talapapa is another player who returns the ball so well, always tries to get a win on the first play. Again, Danny Mills coming in from the wing, trying to get a quick play of the ball.
Craig Cook clapping his hands, urging the players on. Here's Menzieri once more. PNG's Sportsman of the Year in 2008, Menzieri. Ryan Hepworth. Hepworth spins to the ground. There he is, the PNG international. Joe Hurst. And offside against Widnes.
I think he's going to call the captain, Mark Smith, over here.
Is this what pressure does to a side that Widnes beginning to feel the pressure that the Eagles are putting on them?
We've had 4 penalties now in a space of, what, 7 or 8 minutes. It's not good enough. Address the problem for me, Mark, or someone's going to go in bin. I'll let you sort it.
So that's them told. They've had to do a lot of defending. Was Savataboa alongside Mark Aston there on the sidelines, another loyal servant of this Sheffield Eagles club, the Fijian. As they play the ball on the 10-metre line, Craig Cook. Brown, here is Lindsay. Lindsay short pass to Exton. Lindsay for Hepworth, and Hepworth, strong run from him.
Good play by Mark Smith, clamping that ball straight away.
The pass skied really. Brown finds Peter Green, but they've lost momentum here of the Eagles, and that's good defence again, and Chris Gerrard in there. And here come Sheffield again. Oh, and Bergen had come infield. Tangaripati was looking for him on the outside, and the coach cannot believe it.
Well, Dean Gaskell coming to take Tangaripati, and this would have been a certain try. Missy Talapapa pulling in Matt Gardner, then Dean Gaskell had to come in. You see, Tangaripati. Oh.
And poor old Mark Aston is being put by the ringer. This is what he's gone through in the last 20 minutes or so. And he's just wondering what his side has got to do to get it right. Well, you can add that most recent incident to that list, as Tim Bergin, who came up with that wonder try in the first half, well, he could have had a second there.
Well, we talked about camping down on the opposition's try line, and that's what Sheffield have done in the opening 18 minutes of this second half. Well, again, Widnes trying to play outside of the big forwards. They had a lot of joy with that in the opening 20 minutes.
And they need to as well. There's some tired bodies in that middle, and that's where players like Dean Gaskell, they're worth their weight in gold. The back three for Widnes tonight have been excellent.
Yeah. Heckenberg. This building into another one of these great Thursday night classics that we occasionally have. Well, we quite often have here on Sky Sports. But Sheffield Eagles, well, most of the time. Sheffield Eagles have got a bit of a job to do, and the clock beginning to count against them now. Lindsay there takes the tackle. It's really his wild pass intercepted by Thackeray that's made the difference in this second half. Coming up to the hour mark, and Widnes so desperate to get this home win on a variety of fronts, their playoff hopes, and to do their coach proud here tonight. They're so conscious of that.
Well, Widnes' outside backs are getting up and putting pressure on the attacking players from Sheffield. Every time they look up, they see a Widnes player there. They're looking for the miracle pass to try and set one of the teammates free.
The attitude of Widnes in defence has been very impressive. They're willing to defend their errors, and they're there for one another. Look at this, 3 players in the tackle, totally controlling the collision and the wrestle.
Missy Talapapa plays the ball.
And again, looking round for who's going to come up with that play.
And it's Ben Kavanagh, and Ben Kavanagh has been in outstanding form in his loose forward position.
Oh, and is that the mistake? The mistake from Jim Gannon. The good work from Ben Kavanagh in defence. Jim Gannon just couldn't take that ball in.
Ben Kavanagh is the only ever present now in this Widnes side. They have had their injury problems, used 38 players so far this season. And they're having to do some defending again. Here is Jack Howison. And you get the feeling that if Sheffield gets some points on the board or get a try and manage to convert it, then they're going to fancy their chances. That ball has gone backwards, says the referee. No, he's going to come bring him back for the knock-on.
Well, they're saying that Matt Gardner knocks this ball on first. Does he knock this ball on, or does it go backwards to his teammate Dean Gaskell? This is what we've got to decide. I think originally I thought this ball goes backwards. Matt Gardner gets the ball there.
No, that's gone forward.
Yeah. You can see from this shot. There's where it goes forward. He couldn't take it in. Correct decision by Ron Lawton, the referee.
Get him in. Lock in the scrum, Ben.
He's having a bit of problems getting this scrum settled down. Is Ron Lawton. He does so. Good step back in field from Missy Talapapa, and he is over the try line. And the Sheffield Eagles captain finally gets the points that they've been threatening. He gets his 7th try of the season, and Sheffield Eagles know that they're back in this game. Finally, the pressure has told.
Matt Gardner is right in the Sheffield line of attack. He tries to come up with the ball, but unable to do it. What about this for footwork? Talapapa drags the defensive line. They're all sliding right. He comes back against the grain. And with sheer power, just watch that footwork. Footwork, get away from the young Danny Craven. That's the first mistake he's made all night. But could it be a vital one? Widnes need to stay in the game now. Need to maintain the enthusiasm, and Sheffield, they need direction. And Brendan Lindsay will be in charge of that.
Simon Brown in charge of adding 2 more points for the Eagles to cut the deficit. 18 points to 10 the scoreline now. The crowd not happy with that succession of penalties, and then the head and feed to the Eagles at this scrum.
Just look at this left foot step off Missy Talapapa, and that's at pace, and that's what troubles Widnes. Leader and Richard Varkulis couldn't prevent him from scoring that try as the Widnes fans tried to lift their team.
They've had to do a lot of defending in the virtually since half-time, haven't they? It's going to be draining.
Well, the penalties, the mistakes coming out, bringing the ball out of their own yardage areas. They've got to make sure that they try and get to the kicks and again play the game down at Sheffield's end of the park.
You can't afford to keep handing possession over, and Widnes have been guilty on a few occasions. And remember one from Jim Gannon on the first tackle, and that kills you in a game. You can't keep defending. It's absolutely impossible. The best team in the world at some point will wilt and fold under that kind of pressure.
Well, they're probably not going to settle for a bonus point, the Eagles, but it would in fact be enough to keep them above Widnes in the table in 5th place. But in fact, these two, 5th and 6th, if that's where they're going to finish, then it's long odds on them getting any significant progress in the playoffs, because the championship playoffs have been dominated by the teams finishing 1st and 2nd. In fact, they've contested all 7 National League One and Championship finals since the inception in 2003. So they're battling for another battle, that's for sure.
That was well taken by Paddy Flynn. He was under pressure from one of the biggest men on the park in Mitch Stringer. He didn't take his eyes off that ball. But again, the speed of the line, the urgency of which Sheffield are playing in this second half.
Well, you can just imagine what the next Widnes penalty is going to be greeted by.
The Widnes fans really putting pressure on Ron Lawton now. They want the balance readdressing. Good footwork.
It's great work from Kurt Haggerty. Very different athlete to brother Gareth, that's for sure.
Just a bit. About 3 stone different. Mine 4 now.
That's cruel. That's a good kick from Thackeray. That's all they've got to do, just keep him down this end of the field.
Putting the kick in exactly the same spot as he did a couple of minutes ago. And he's asking his Widnes forwards to dominate in defence down this area of the park. But Sheffield have certainly ramped up in his second half. The yardage that they seem to be making, they're looking to play on that left edge of Widnes, targeting Anthony Thackeray.
Look in, stay in! Stay in! Out!
So Sheffield are going to have to work from deep. And Widnes will be aiming to not give them any piggybacks this time. Here's Tanguy Ripati. No sign of Aaron Groom in the Sheffield Eagles setup these days. He and the club seem to have gone their separate ways. That was a forward pass.
Well, is this what Widnes need now? Craig Cook was a bit hesitant in that pass. You see Joe Hurst just overruns it. There it is, he passes the ball. He doesn't help his teammate. He passes the ball and goes backwards, giving the effect to the referee that it was forward.
Out! Like that every time now.
So Widnes are able to put a bit of pressure now on the Sheffield Eagles line, turn the tables on Mark Aston's side. Here is Heckenberg, got a big rousing round of applause from the crowd when he left after his first stint on the field. They like his no-nonsense approach here at the Vikings.
Good footwork from Thackeray. Spotted Mick Stringer coming out the line for him.
Mark Smith. Here is Pickersgill now. Former Warrington player, Steve Pickersgill. Thackeray. Thackeray taking him on himself, looking for a second and getting it. The ball popping out there. Danny Craven just pouncing on it just to be certain, but it looked as though Thackeray had got through there.
Well, Anthony Thackeray's jumped up straight away and said the ball was ripped. There's no problem with it. You can see this is when Anthony Thackeray is most dangerous, when he gets the ball in his hand and he's attacking the opposition. Yeah, that ball was stripped by Mitch Stringer. Craven picks it up. Good hands from the youngster.
That's a try, isn't it?
Yes, he didn't wait around, young Danny Craven.
Okay, thank you.
Thackeray testing Mitch Stringer, and he's awarded the try, the youngster.
So Sheffield thought they got away with it, but they've reckoned without the poaching skills of Danny Craven. Gets his second try in Vikings colours. Danny Craven.
Well, Anthony Thackeray really takes the line on, and a nice show and go and a good body angle gives him half a chance to ground this ball. And I do like this player, Danny Craven. He doesn't wait for the referee, he doesn't wait for a decision. Picks it up, puts it down, play to the whistle. At under 8s, that's what you get taught. And here's the forward pass, and Joe Hurst trying to get over the gain line. Outstanding play from Widnes. They will not let this victory slide away. It's worth too much to them.
As Craven adds 2 more points. And that could have seen off the Sheffield Eagles. 24-10 now. The Widnes Vikings lead. And relief for their supporters who'd seen their side take a real hammering in this second half so far. But come up there with the points, courtesy of that young man who really has shone for the Vikings since he's broken into the side.
He's been an outstanding talent in the young under-18 side. But again, this Sheffield side, they know how important this bonus point is.
And it's beyond them at the moment. But you're going to have to start feeding this Danny Craven lad.
Yep, he's not the biggest. He's one of the bravest, though. That was a first mistake by Mark Smith. It goes forward. So Sheffield will get the ball back.
Danny Craven's had a good game, and as you said, Bill, very slight, but he's a very young player. Here's Mark Smith trying to get his hands on the ball. There's another Sheffield knock-on, which means it's Sheffield head and ball. But Phil Finney's done a great job in that under-18 setup.
I don't think the crowd know yet that it's a Sheffield Oh, they've spotted it now. They're not happy with that decision either.
A lot of head shaking going on.
It was the right one. It was Mark Smith with the knock on there.
Get off him!
But only 12 minutes left now for the Eagles. If the bonus point is to be theirs, they've still got some work to do. At the moment, they're heading for yet another defeat here in Widnes. This will be a 10th consecutive defeat at this ground, going back to 1991 when Darren Wright scored a hat-trick for Widnes in a 52-20 win. That's a wild pass, and it's gone even further back because Hepworth couldn't take the ball in.
Keep coming.
That's the 5th tackle. Needs to be a good kick from Simon Brown. Crossfield looking for Mills maybe. It's knocked on again, and Sheffield have it back.
Knock on from Sheffield first.
And it was a Sheffield knock on. Mitch Stringer incredulous at that decision.
Well, Mitch Stringer's puzzled. He thinks that Paddy Flynn loses that ball, but referee judging that Menzieri is the one who knocks it forward.
Play ball. That's one. Move! Hold here. Hold. Go.
They've been very good, Widnes. They've been very good in this particular part of the pitch. They haven't forced things. Kurt Haggerty with a bit of cramp there. There's no sympathy. Get the ball off him and play it, Gaskell. Joanne, the physio, will just try and get rid of that cramp.
Get the ball from him. We'll play it here for 2.
Referee telling Tom Kelly to get on with it. No sympathy.
Well, this is not what you want. Oops.
That's not what you want either. Just want to keep it safe.
But that's what you want.
And they play the ball again. Great work.
Thackeray, I think he was just outside the 40 when he put that one in. And Missy Talapapa, very experienced fullback, was there in the right place.
Well, willing to kick the ball on the 3rd tackle. Look at the return from Missy Talapapa. They don't want to chance at making mistakes down near their own end. But again, good play by Danny Mills.
Mills with a strong run. Here is Simon Brown now. Tanguy Rapati. Rapati, another one of the internationals out there, made his debut for Samoa, in fact, in the World Cup in France in 2008. Here's Howison, a Scottish international, Jack Howison, via the Hemel Stags. Simon Brown, chip kick over the top. Bergin will chase it. Craven will come for it and get there first.
Who else, Bill? Danny Craven in the right place at the right time. Dean Gaskell did an excellent job of just shielding the oncoming Sheffield defenders.
Into the last 10 minutes then here at the Stobart Stadium, and Widnes Vikings moving closer to that win that they so desperately wanted when they set out this evening.
4. Move! 4. Go.
Mark Smith. Kavanagh.
5. Move! Go.
He's been quite a discovery at loose forward, Ben Kavanagh.
Yeah.
He just plays like the extra prop forward in the middle of the park, willing to take the ball forward. So you're looking to create and generate that goal forward with 3 prop forwards.
Okay, Mark, move!
Widnes leading 24 points to 10. If it stays like this, they deny Sheffield the bonus point. Widnes go up to 5th in the table. It might not sound much, but for a Widnes Vikings side who lost out to Batley in the Northern Rail final, having been the holders of that cup, the prospect of missing out on the playoffs was just too much to contemplate. This is a club that expects to be involved in playoffs and cup finals. So if 5th is as high as they're going to get, then that's what it'll be. Stringer. Henderson is on there.
Again, they're starting to look hesitant. That's because they're looking for that big play.
Simon Brown chips the kick back up the middle. Lindsay will chase this, and it's well dealt with. And it's Steve Pickersgill back there to cover for the Widnes Vikings. Good work from the prop.
Oh, good vision by the big man, Steve Pickersgill. It's a good job the big fellow was there, because Danny Craven lost his footing.
Hold
Oh, there's two balls on the pitch. No wonder Tommy Martin's involved at the club.
He's just giving him a ticking off because he threw the ball away.
The foot of God, Bill, I played in that game, Tommy Martin.
Time's off.
Real big character in the game back then.
Well, he's
Let it go, Baz. Everyone knows you used to play.
Yeah.
His kicking influence is obviously having an impact, because that's a great goal line dropout as well.
But look at the return from Hepworth. I think Hepworth, Stringer, Howison. The yardage, you can't just stand back and wait for them to run it yet.
And they really have taken a battering in the second half, haven't they, the Vikings? Sheffield have dominated possession.
They've threw everything at them, Bill.
They've only got the one try to show for it. They should have had two. I mean, there was that mix-up between Tanguy Rapati and Tim Bergin.
And the Menziere just before half-time as well, Bill.
Yeah, when Craven brought him down. Henderson, Talapapa, Tanguy Rapati. Rapati, good ball to Alex Rowe. Good offload from Rowe to Lindsay, but good defence.
They've just been different class tonight, Widnes, in defence. Turning up for each other all the time.
Oh, and Rowe has gone without it. The pass from Craig Cook was just behind him. Add that one to the list of Mark Aston's agony.
He was through Alex Rowe. He was reading it in the paper the next day. He was looking up where that try line was. Young Tom Kelly chasing him. And it's just too much for Mark Aston. They've had the chances, Sheffield. And you can see him just play.
He's still playing the game, isn't he, Mark Aston, as well as everything else he does.
Let's have it good. Time on.
I don't think he was driving the bus this evening that was stuck on the motorway.
That's one.
I bet he wanted to, though.
Wait till don't go early.
Here's Gardner playing the ball. Young Tom Kelly, another one of these youngsters that's come to prominence this season for the Vikings. Another 18-year-old like Danny Craven, in fact. Pickersgill. And Craven almost getting in a tangle there. Pickersgill put the anchors on just in time. Aston cannons off the backside of Alex Rowe and then moved off the spot.
Well, Ronnie Lawton saying that Mark Smith was tackled. He's very dangerous, Mark Smith, when he gets out from dummy half on the back of a quick play of the ball. There you can see it. Alex Rowe going backwards. He wasn't held, was it?
But still, Tez,
the referee, Ronnie Lawton, saying he was held.
Patience and composure has worked really well for them.
5-0 the penalty count against Widnes in this second half. No wonder they've spent most of it down in their own territory. But they've only conceded that one try so far, and it'll be that way, the way things are going. Stringer this time, furious with himself.
Well, again, they're trying to get to Anthony Thackeray. They're really trying to target Widnes on these edges. Good play by Richard Varkulis on the big man. And again, shake of the head. Was Sabatou, who doesn't want to look up.
So 5 minutes before the Widnes Vikings can celebrate a double over the Sheffield Eagles. They beat them 44-30 at Sheffield back in March. And their dominance against the Sheffield club is going to continue tonight.
I think this game is all the more impressive when you work out that Widnes have only played the ball in their opposition half 9 times. So all the work that they've done has been in this area, and they've been prepared to work for one another. There's a calculated risk element to what they're doing.
And ironic cheers from the Viking supporters as they get their first penalty of this second half.
Well, Peter Green, that's his 4th penalty that he's given away in this game. I'm sure that will not be pleasing Mark Aston.
I'll tell you what's also impressive from this Vikings effort is the fact that they returned from Toulouse at the weekend, and where they played in scorching heat, apparently.
The conditions were absolutely terrible, red-hot conditions. Some of the big men really struggled. Obviously, they lost Gareth Haggerty in that game, so they were down to 3 substitutions.
So a tough week, and given the off-the-field emotion as well of the evening, they've responded well to it. The Sheffield Eagles have caused them problems, there's no doubt about that, and they'll go home, hopefully without all the hassle they had of getting here. They'll go home thinking that if they'd taken their chances, they could have come out of the night with something, at the very least a bonus point, but even that looks beyond them, and Widnes can make certain of it now as they have possession in the shape of Thomas Coyle.
Could there be a drop goal here from young Craven?
Well, they've got numbers on the left.
Could it be Gerrard for a second? Gerrard has got that ball down, he's stretched out, he likes it.
What strength from the youngster.
Lawton isn't certain.
What about the strength? He's gone in straight and hard. Look at that.
Try.
Missy Talapapa, Ryan Hepworth, trying everything to prevent that try. That is a good effort.
There's enough players around them, Tez, to deny him, but this is Widnes' night. Look at Danny Craven at the back. I think Sheffield are thinking that the drop goal is coming.
I can't see any problem with this try at all.
No, this is a try.
You can see he gets into Ryan Hepworth, one of the biggest men in the championship. He still takes him forward. Missy Talapapa trying everything.
The try awarded. Chris Gerrard gets his second of the night, and another conversion really for the Widnes Vikings. More of a loose forward, Chris Gerrard, but doing a very competent job for them in that standoff role.
Quick thinking from Gerrard here. As I said, I think the Sheffield defenders thought the drop goal was coming. Chris Gerrard gets his second meat pie of the night. And I can't think of a poor performer for Widnes tonight. They've given their absolute best, absolutely everything that they've got tonight. They've put it into this game. Superb performance from the Vikings.
First double of the season for Chris Gerrard. What a night to get it. So much at stake for the Vikings here tonight, as the black armband will tell you. And I hope Paul Cullen, if he's been able to watch tonight, has been able to enjoy this performance from his side and from the likes of that young man, Danny Craven. He bangs that one through the uprights, and this scoreline looking a lot more comfortable than it has done for most of this second half for the Vikings. And they've got that man, Chris Gerrard, to thank for relieving the pressure late on in this game. And Sheffield Eagles once again are going to go home empty-handed from Widnes.
You talk about youngsters in the team, there's the black armbands, in respect to Paul Cullen. You talk about youngsters, Chris Gerrard himself is only 19. He's been very pivotal for this Widnes side this year. And at the other edge, you've got Jim Gannon, who's not took a backward step all season.
The Sheffield Eagles will now slip down to 6th in the table, and they'll have the Batley Bulldogs breathing bulldoggy breath down their necks. Can you imagine? Can you imagine that?
I don't know what bulldoggy breath is.
I'll tell you, it's foul.
I do know actually, because Barry's here.
It is foul. But whatever it is, it's given the Bulldogs incentive to maybe climb into the top 6, and what a great achievement that would be, having already won the Northern Rail Cup. But Sheffield Eagles will drop down to 6. Widnes Vikings move up to 5th after this. On points difference, that'll be. Here's Danny Mills. Been a frustrating night for the Sheffield Eagles side. Probably a frustrating day virtually from the word go, and that sums it up really. A forward pass there, and that must be about the third forward pass, third or fourth forward pass we've seen from this Eagles side.
But Mitch Stringer, he's coming out of trouble there. He has no right to throw that pass. But such has been the attitude in defence from Widnes. They just haven't been able to break it down.
Lock it well. Loose forward, lock in. Okay.
So Sheffield
Out.
defending to do in the last minute or so here. The clock counting down.
One. Move. Hold.
And can Widnes pile yet more misery on them, or is that it for the night? It's a pretty convincing job for a Viking side that haven't been at their strongest at home. Only the 3 wins so far, and that against the sides bottom of the table so far. But now they've got one against one of their closest rivals in the middle of the table, the Sheffield Eagles. And it's been a gutsy performance. It needed to be. And they've won a lot of plaudits from their supporters for that performance. Dean Gaskell really setting the tone early on for them. His attitude, Barry, I think said a lot about the Widnes attitude tonight?
All things being right tonight, this had to be a Widnes victory, but they just didn't expect to turn up and give the right tribute to their coach, Paul Cullen. They needed to work hard, and Sheffield were against it. Had a late coach journey, a couple of injury doubts before the kick-off, and it just was not allowed to get into any kind of groove, any kind of rhythm. Players like Mark Smith making it very difficult around the middle. Paddy Flynn, Danny Craven, Dean Gaskell, the back three for Widnes, superb. And Mark Smith led his troops very well. Just going through a few finer little details with Tom Kelly. But all in all, Widnes excellent tonight. Not a bad player amongst them.
And we saw the frustration as well on the face of Mark Aston. That sort of night for the Sheffield Eagles. But jubilation for the Widnes Vikings and smiles from the man of the match, Danny Craven. Another big performance from him, and he is the man of the match. He's with Rod Studd.
Thanks, Bill. Yeah, Danny's here. Danny, 18 points and a bottle of champagne and a win, so that's a good night for you.
Yeah, it's a great night for the lads. We've just spoke about it in the changing rooms before the game. It was vital that we won this game. We can't go to Toulouse and not back up. It'd be a worthless effort, so it's a good job we backed up today.
A try, as I say, and 5 goals. But tell us about that tackle on Menzi Yeri when he was rampaging towards you. It looked odds on Yeri, to be honest.
He's a big fella. I just thought if I went high on him, he'd probably put me in the stands, so just figured if I went low, I'd have a better chance, and luckily it come off.
Just tell us how important that win is. It takes you up to 5th spot in the table, Danny.
Yeah, it's a massive win for the team. Like I said, we've been speaking about it in the changing rooms. We want to get into the playoff, that's our goal, and if we get into the playoffs, we can crack on from there.
As well as that champagne, there's £100 to the charity of your choice. Where will you be sending that?
The Valhalla Foundation, please.
Thanks, Danny, much appreciated. Let's bring in Steve Pickersgill. Steve, well played, great win for Widnes. It's a very emotional night, as we know, after what happened to Paul Cullen and his wife this week. I know there was an important team meeting which you led. Can you let us into a little bit of a secret and how important this match was to Widnes and the club?
Yeah, mate, I don't really think it was a secret, mate. Obviously, what happened was tragic, and Paul's been through an awful lot over the last 12 to 18 months, and he's always turned up to training, and no cracks have ever shown at him, which is an outstanding credit to Paul, you know what I mean? And obviously, I just pulled the lads together, and I thought it was important to say, whatever you're going through at the minute, if you think it's, you know, carrying little knocks here and no excuses. None of us can imagine what Paul's going through in his family and Scott. All to all his family.
We all know there are more important things in life than rugby league. I mean, how tough was it for the lads to play tonight?
It was tough, like I said, it was a really emotional night, and it was very important we got out here and got that win today, and obviously dedicated it to Paul and all his family.
Thanks for talking to us, Steve. Well done, well played.
Thanks, mate.
A very eloquent tribute from Steve Pickersgill there, summing up the significance of the night. I think there's the significance on the scoreboard. Widnes Vikings 30, Sheffield Eagles 10, and the Vikings, Terry, a side who haven't been at strongest at home, and just the 3 wins at home in the championship, looking